So for the miskin scene for the Big Lebowski, I would say a lot of the props, the vehicles that were used, and as well as the costumes were from the early '90s, and this is confirmed when you hear kind of like a news heading talking about the Iraq and Kuwait invasion, and that did take place in the early '90s, so that was confirmed. And the props and costumes and whatnot for Moonrise Kingdom were very cheap looking, and I think the directors did that on purpose to kind of give it that warm-hearted, not cartoony, but silly kind of feel to it. I think they did that on purpose, and for the camera angles in The Big Lebowski, I would say it was pretty good. Especially when Lebowski, or the dude, gets knocked out and you kind of sees stars, and all of a sudden he's floating like over the town or over the city of LA, I believe. And the camera angles in Moonrise Kingdom was actually pretty cool the way they did it. It was a lot of shots that were taken kind of standing back while the two characters were facing each other and talking. They did a lot of shots like that, kind of just panning back and forth, like really weird, super fast, like chop shots, and I like that a lot. And the color for Moonrise Kingdom, I feel like it had like a yellowish tint to it the whole time, kind of like that warm, fuzzy feeling. I think that was done on purpose. If not, then that was probably just the quality of the movie. But I think that was done on purpose. And then the lighting in The Big Lebowski, lots of like blues and reds, like neon lights, like especially at night, kind of giving off that 80s like synthwave kind of vibe. It was very close to the 80s because this is early 90s, I believe, and so I think that was also done on purpose to give you that kind of emotion. I prefer the Lebowski style more than Moonrise Kingdom, and I think I chose The Big Lebowski as my favorite, mainly just because it was more engaging and interesting to me. Social context, this is America, early 90s. Iraq is invading Kuwait. We're about to kick off the Gulf War. That's essentially what's happening in this time for the social context. And then the social context for Moonrise Kingdom, I feel like, these are Americans, of course, too, on the West Coast. I feel like this is somewhere up near Washington. It's got all those pine trees and very beautiful like wilderness out there, and I think this was shot somewhere on the West Coast in America. And for formal context, like I said, lots of good props. Camera angles were pretty cool. Lots of very different ones. After reading the readings this past week, I've been paying attention to the camera angles, and the camera angles in Moonrise Kingdom were just very choppy and quick and kind of taken like up from afar back, and I really like that. But I just prefer the Big Lebowski one, just mainly because when he got knocked out and he's flying, starts to see stars and he's flying over LA. I thought that was super sick. And my favorite scene is when Lebowski gets shoved into the car by the other Lebowski, and the main reason is because it's a Lincoln Continental, and I like Lincoln Continentals, especially the ones from 1979. I picked up on it instantly because I saw the logo on the seat, and I think that was probably my favorite scene just because it's such a cool piece of history.
Yeah, he followed us here. When did he start following? Bro! Fuck! In the limo, you son of a bitch. No argument. Hey, careful, man. There's a beverage here, huh?
Start talking and talk fast, you lousy bum.
We've been frantically trying to reach you, dude.
Where is my gun?
It's not a Lincoln Continental, it's a Lincoln limo, but I just liked it because I'm a big fan of the Lincoln Continentals. I'll probably never own one just because they're such hard cars to maintain and keep up with, but for the time, they're very luxurious cars, and I thought it was pretty cool they incorporated on that car in there, because you don't really see a lot of those, especially nice ones nowadays driving on the street. And so I really liked that, and that's probably why that was my favorite scene. And also the camera angles in the vehicle as well. It kept switching back and forth, like you felt like you were part of the conversation when they were in there talking, just because it would pan to Lebowski and his butler, and then it would pan back to the dude or Lebowski.